It doesn't matter whether you're an expert or a novice F1 fan, in this video you're going to learn 21 interesting things about the sport of Formula One. After watching this video, you're going to know so much more about the people involved in Formula One and the sport itself. I'll kick it off with this fact. Did you know that all of the drivers are right-handed, certainly when it comes to writing? However, drivers like Nicholas Latifi play hockey left-handed, and Alex Albon kicks left-footed. Of the 10 F1 teams, 9 of them have watch sponsors. 1 doesn't. Do you know that team? Yes, AlphaTauri. They did have Casio on board with them for a while, but that ended a couple of years ago. Today, the drivers are free to wear whatever watches they like to the track, while the other drivers from the other teams all have to wear a sponsor's watch at certain times during a Grand Prix weekend. And is it only the drivers who wear those sponsors' watches? No, people like trainers and team bosses also wear those watches, along with certain influential people who appear a lot on television. That could be press officers and others who pop up in the background on Formula One telecasts. And are those watches given to the wearers? In the main, no, they have to return them at the end of the season, but some drivers actually get to keep their watches as part of their contracts. The starting grid must be at least 15 metres wide, with the width of the track maintained through the first corner to minimise the risk of pile-ups on the opening lap. On post-race telecasts, how do TV commentators down in the paddock know where drivers finish during the race? It's really quite simple, as you can see, and a little crude, but effective. Which driver has driven the most F1 cars on track this year? It is Nyck de Vries. He's driven a Mercedes in FP1 at the French Grand Prix. He drove an Aston Martin at FP1 in Italy, and on the very same weekend he drove a Williams car in FP3, quali and the race. And I will remind you at this point that there are still a number of hand-signed and hand-numbered Nyck de Vries prints available on my website, kimillman.com. You can pick your favourite number from the stock left, and you'll receive a digital image of Nyck signing your particular print as irrefutable proof of authenticity. While we're on the subject of Williams, what number car does Williams assign to all their rookie drivers who drive in FP1? Number 45. Do you know the maximum length of a straight that Formula One sets down in their rules and regulations? It is 2 kilometres. And how close does the Baku straight come to that 2 kilometre maximum? Well, there's still a bit to go because that's only 1.6 kilometres. Most F1 tracks have the podium right above the garages in pit lane. However, there are 4 tracks that don't have the podium sitting right above those garages. Do you know them? Miami. The podium's situated on the other side of the Hard Rock Stadium, and drivers are whisked from Parc Fermé to the stadium via golf carts. Monza, the podium's situated above the straight, much to the delight of the tens of thousands who stream onto the track after the race. Monaco has its podium situated at the start-finishing line, but on the outside of the track, and it's one of the few races where fans can't get access to the track post-race. And the final one is Mexico, where the podium's situated in the stadium and is quite a spectacle. Lewis Hamilton has quite an attention to detail, and I'll give you an example here. This was in Zandvoort. He noticed just before the drivers' parade that this set of speakers were too far out into pit lane for his liking. With just 2 hours to go before the start of the race, he and a couple of marshals and helpers pushed the speakers back about 15 centimetres. Why? Because it allowed him a slightly shallower angle to get into his pit box for his pit stops. Without doubt, you've seen a podium celebration. You've seen the drivers spray champagne, but what size bottles are they using? Well, that's a Jeroboam. That's 3 litres of Ferrari Trento sparkling wine, which is the equivalent of 4 standard bottles. Have you ever wondered how many permanent full-time photographers there are accredited with Formula One? There are just 70. And by permanent accreditation, that means that a photographer can roll up at any event without having to apply. And how many photographers do you think will be doing every race this season? I can tell you it'll be fewer than 20. Did you know that Sebastian Vettel's dad loves motorcycles? In fact, he rides a Harley to some races. At some races, drivers have to do fan zone appearances, and as such, they are whisked from the exit of the swipe gates at the paddock to the fan zone area, normally in a people mover. But why are these logos covered up? Some teams, and I can tell you Ferrari is one of them, don't allow their drivers to be seen in vehicles apart from their own. Hence, all visible logos, even on the wheels, are covered. If you add the racing numbers of the 2 drivers on every team, which teams have the highest and the lowest totals? For instance, Aston Martin, Seb's 5, Lance's 18, adds up to 23. So which teams have the highest and the lowest totals? I'll come back to that in a second. Which F1 team has a 2-star Michelin chef running their catering at the track? It's McLaren. This is Karl-Heinz Hauser. Yes, he holds 2 stars from Michelin. He can be seen from Thursday to Sunday, toiling away with his staff in the kitchen, providing world-class meals for McLaren's team, guests and drivers. At which race is it not uncommon to see drivers in foyers of hotels at 3 and 4 a.m. in the morning? Singapore. Why? Well, most of the drivers would have come from Europe, and rather than adjusting to time zones straight away, they take their time, so they wake up late, but they go to bed late. At which track can you stand directly above the track and watch the cars go underneath you while enjoying corporate hospitality? It's Jeddah, and it's a remarkable situation. I've actually stood up there and photographed cars going underneath, right next to people enjoying hospitality and with no glass between them and the cars. During a Ferrari F1 pit stop, how many people are actually in contact with the car? 18, as you can see here, 2 on the jacks, 3 per wheel, 2 to steady the car in the middle, and 2 to handle the front wing. It requires great synchronization, and when done perfectly, is a joy to watch. What's the funniest spelling mistake I've seen at a track? It was in Barcelona going back a few years ago now, where they inadvertently spent Spanish Grand Prix, Spanish Grand Prix. Did you know that many of the drivers' race suits have a strap underneath the foot to keep the suit from riding up? Here's Daniel Ricciardo. I've caught him on a couple of occasions shoeless, primarily because of his shoeies. And you can clearly see here this strap goes underneath the feet. And with that said, I'll say thanks for watching this video. Oh, I've got to tell you too, which was the highest and lowest team numbers. The highest, Mercedes-Benz, George Russell, 63. Lewis Hamilton, 44, adds up to 107. And the lowest, the McLaren drivers of Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo, 3 + 4 = 7. Did you like this video? Say yes, go on. Thank you for that. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so, and become a member for a whole host of extras. You'll find all of my digital images at prostarpics.com. For F1 signed prints, wall art, merchandise, and photo books, head to kimillman.com. And for my best images live from the track and all during the week, you'll find them on Instagram at kimillman. Thanks for watching, and stay passionate. Thanks for watching.